Have you noticed the signs in elderly individuals a year before their passing? It's an unsettling thought, but the truth is that many elderly people exhibit clear physical and behavioral changes up to a year before their demise. These signs are often subtle at first, easily dismissed as natural aging. However, medical professionals have identified specific patterns that can indicate when the body is preparing for the end. In this video, we're revealing 7 key signs that often appear in elderly individuals in the year leading up to their passing. From unexpected shifts in weight to changes in behavior, these signals can provide valuable insights into what's happening beneath the surface. Understanding these signs can help families provide the appropriate support and care in their loved ones' final months, ensuring dignity and comfort during life's closing chapter. Stay tuned until the end, as recognizing these changes might not only prepare you emotionally, but also allow for interventions that could enhance the quality of life. Whether you're concerned for yourself or a loved one, this information is something everyone should be aware of. Now, let's delve into the first sign: sudden unexplained weight loss. One of the earliest and most concerning signs doctors often observe in elderly individuals before their passing. If an older person begins to shed pounds without changing their diet or lifestyle, it's usually a red flag. While weight loss on its own isn't always a cause for concern, when it happens rapidly and without an obvious cause, it often points to something serious happening inside the body. It could be a sign of an undiagnosed illness, such as cancer, advanced heart disease, or organ failure. Sometimes, the body simply struggles to absorb nutrients properly, leading to muscle wasting and weakness. For instance, imagine an 82-year-old man named Richard, who was always a sturdy and strong figure in his family. Over the course of just a few months, he lost nearly 15 pounds without trying. Initially, his family dismissed it as normal aging, but soon they noticed a decrease in his appetite and a noticeable weight loss. When he finally sought medical attention, they discovered an underlying condition that impaired his weight management. By the time they detected the issue, his body had already weakened significantly. Doctors often emphasize that weight loss in elderly individuals isn't solely about the numerical scale. It carries deeper significance. The body is an incredibly complex system, and when something goes wrong, it starts depleting its own reserves to survive. Rapid weight loss and muscle loss can impair the body's ability to process food, fight off illnesses, and maintain strength. This decline can make it harder to recover from even minor infections, leading to a downward spiral in overall health. Another significant aspect is that weight loss often accompanies a decrease in appetite. Individuals may start skipping meals, feeling fuller faster, or showing disinterest in food they once enjoyed. While this could be due to changing taste buds or medication side effects, it can also indicate a deeper issue. As the body nears the end of life, it naturally slows down, and part of this process often involves a reduced need for food. However, if a loved one suddenly stops eating well and begins losing weight rapidly, it's crucial to take it seriously. Family members and caregivers should pay attention to subtle cues. For instance, if an elderly person starts needing to tighten their belt more frequently, their jewelry becomes loose, or they appear visibly thinner in their face and hands, it may be time to consult a doctor. Addressing weight loss early could lead to identifying an underlying condition that might still be manageable. Even if nothing serious is found, simple interventions such as adjusting diet, adding nutritional supplements, or managing medications can help slow the decline and improve their overall well-being. Losing weight may seem like a normal part of aging, but when it occurs too quickly, It often serves as the body's way of signaling that something is amiss. If you or someone you know has been experiencing unexplained weight loss, don't dismiss it. Instead, consider it a reason to take action and seek professional advice. Another key sign is increased fatigue and weakness. One of the most common, but often overlooked indicators that an elderly person may be approaching their final year of life is a persistent sense of fatigue and weakness. This isn't the typical tiredness that arises from a long day or a poor night's sleep. Instead, it's a profound and unshakable exhaustion that persists regardless of the amount of rest they receive. When an individual who was once active and engaged suddenly struggles to complete even the simplest daily tasks, it often indicates a more significant decline in their body's functioning. Fatigue in older adults can stem from various causes, but in the context of approaching the end of life, it is frequently linked to declining organ function. For instance, the heart may not be pumping efficiently, reducing oxygen and nutrient delivery to muscles and tissues. Similarly, the kidneys or liver may not be filtering toxins effectively, leading to a buildup of waste in the body that causes sluggishness. Even the immune system can become overworked, constantly fighting off infections or inflammation, leaving little energy for other activities. Consider the case of 78-year-old Margaret, who cherished tending to her garden. For years, she spent her mornings outdoors, pulling weeds and watering her flowers. However, her daughter noticed subtle changes in Margaret's behavior. Margaret would tire after only a few minutes of activity, leaning on her shovel to catch her breath. Eventually, even walking up the steps to her front door became a challenge. Initially, Margaret dismissed these changes as part of aging, but the pace of the decline was too rapid to be considered normal. Doctors often observe patterns in energy levels. If someone who once enjoyed light activities like reading, chatting with friends, or cooking meals now prefers to spend most of their time resting, it's a clear indication that something deeper is at play. Chronic fatigue in the elderly isn't merely about feeling sleepy. It's about losing the strength and motivation to move through daily life. Their body may be struggling to maintain basic functions, diverting all available energy toward essential systems while shutting down non-essential ones. Another crucial factor is how fatigue impacts mood and mental clarity. Prolonged weakness often leads to a decreased engagement with the surroundings. Individuals may experience increased daytime sleepiness, reduced speech, or a loss of interest in activities they once enjoyed. This isn't just a mental shift, it's the body's way of conserving energy. Some elderly individuals may describe feeling heavy or as if they're moving through water, struggling to find the strength to perform tasks that once felt effortless. If you notice a loved one exhibiting these signs, it's crucial not to assume it's merely part of aging. While some energy loss is natural, extreme fatigue, especially when accompanied by noticeable weakness, often serves as a significant red flag. Seeking medical advice can help identify potential underlying issues, such as anemia, heart failure, or electrolyte imbalances. In some cases, adjusting medications, increasing hydration, or addressing nutritional deficiencies can improve energy levels and restore vitality. The key takeaway is that when an elderly person suddenly appears significantly weaker than before, it often indicates that their body is redirecting its resources for survival. Paying attention to this shift can provide valuable insights into their overall health and help families prepare for potential challenges. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know. Additionally, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend subscribing and turning on the bell to ensure you don't miss any future videos. Your support helps us continue creating informative and inspiring content. Now, let's move on to the next topic. Number 3. Social withdrawal and personality changes. A surprising yet significant sign observed in elderly individuals nearing the end of life is a noticeable shift in personality or social engagement. This change can manifest in various forms. Someone who was once outgoing may become more reserved. Conversations may feel shorter and less enthusiastic, and they may lose interest in activities they once enjoyed. While many people associate social withdrawal with depression, it can also be a subtle signal that the body is preparing for its final stage in older adults. This is because the brain and body are deeply connected, and as physical health declines, energy levels drop, and mental engagement often follows. The effort required to maintain conversations, go out with friends, or even respond to phone calls can start to feel overwhelming, especially if they are experiencing chronic pain, fatigue, or a general sense of unwellness. It's not necessarily that they are feeling sad. It's that their body no longer has the resources to keep up with social interactions in the same way it once did. Consider an example. 80-year-old James was always the life of the party, known for cracking jokes at family gatherings and calling his old army buddies regularly. But over time, his family noticed that he stopped answering his phone as often. He began skipping events he once loved, and even when he did show up, he seemed distant and quiet. At first, they thought he was just tired, but as the months went by, he withdrew more and more. Eventually, they realized something deeper was happening. His health was declining, and his withdrawal was one of the first warning signs. Doctors emphasize that when someone starts pulling away from their usual social circles, it's important to consider the reason. Is it due to sadness, physical discomfort, memory struggles, or is it part of a larger pattern of decline? Some elderly individuals may stop participating in conversations because their cognitive abilities are slowing down, making it harder to keep up. Others might feel embarrassed by their physical limitations and prefer to avoid gatherings where they feel less capable than before. Another aspect to watch out for is sudden personality changes. If someone becomes noticeably more irritable, anxious, or even confused, it could be a sign of an underlying medical issue. Organ dysfunction, medication side effects, or even early stages of dementia can all contribute to mood swings. In some cases, these changes occur because the body redirects energy to essential functions, leaving less for emotional regulation. What's particularly heartbreaking is that these changes often go unnoticed or are misinterpreted as personal rejection. Loved ones may assume the elderly individual is simply losing interest in family or friends, when in reality, they may be struggling with a physical or cognitive decline that makes interaction more difficult. Understanding that this behavior is not intentional can help families respond with patience and support rather than frustration. While social withdrawal is common in older adults, a sudden or dramatic shift should never be ignored. Encouraging gentle engagement, such as short visits, listening to music together, or simply sitting in comfortable silence, can help maintain a connection without overwhelming them. In cases where withdrawal is accompanied by other warning signs, seeking medical advice can help uncover whether an underlying condition is contributing to the change. Recognizing when someone is pulling away is about more than just social concerns. It can be an early indication that their body is undergoing significant changes. If a loved one has been showing signs of withdrawal, take it as an opportunity to offer support and ensure they receive the care they need. One of the most telling signs that an elderly person may be approaching their final stage of life is a noticeable decline in their immune system. When the body begins to weaken, it becomes less capable of fighting off infections and healing from even minor wounds. This is why doctors often observe a pattern of recurring illnesses, such as frequent colds, urinary tract infections, pneumonia, or even skin infections that take much longer to recover from than they used to. In some cases, a small cut or bruise that once healed in days may linger for weeks, or an illness that was once manageable might turn into something far more serious. The immune system, like a protective shield, constantly works behind the scenes to fight off bacteria, viruses, and other harmful invaders. However, as we age, this system naturally weakens. White blood cell production slows down, inflammatory responses become less effective, and the body's ability to generate new, healthy tissue declines. When this happens, infections that were once minor inconveniences can turn into chronic, life-threatening conditions. Take the case of Walter, an 81-year-old man who had always been relatively healthy, managing his daily routine without any major issues. However, over the course of a few months, his family noticed that he was catching colds more frequently, and each time, it seemed to take longer for him to recover. For instance, when he got a small cut on his hand while gardening, it remained red and inflamed for weeks. Eventually, a simple urinary tract infection led to a severe fever, necessitating hospitalization. His once resilient body could no longer defend itself effectively. What makes recurring infections in elderly individuals particularly concerning is their often silent nature. Unlike younger adults, older individuals may not always exhibit typical signs of infection, such as high fever or pain. Instead, their symptoms might be subtle, manifesting as mild fatigue, confusion, or a general sense of unease. This underscores the importance of paying attention to any changes in their health, no matter how minor they may seem. Another significant factor is the slow healing process. When an elderly person sustains a bruise, scratch, or minor wound, and it takes an unusually long time to heal, it often indicates compromised circulation. Poor circulation means the body fails to deliver sufficient oxygen and nutrients to damaged tissue, hindering its ability to repair itself. This can be attributed to aging blood vessels, reduced heart function, or even conditions like diabetes that further slow the healing process. In some instances, infections don't merely signify a weakened immune system. They can also be a sign of an underlying issue. Chronic infections can indicate kidney problems, undiagnosed diabetes, or even the early stages of organ failure. As the body approaches the end of life, it prioritizes its remaining energy towards essential functions, often at the expense of its ability to fight off illness. If you notice an elderly loved one experiencing frequent infections, lingering colds, or wounds that persist despite treatment, it's crucial to take immediate action. Seeking medical advice can help determine if there are underlying conditions that require attention. In some cases, making minor adjustments, such as improving hydration, adjusting diet, or modifying medications, can strengthen the immune response and enhance overall well-being. However, in other instances, recurring infections are a sign that the body is gradually shutting down. Recognizing this can help families prepare and ensure their loved ones receive the necessary care. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment on number 4 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend subscribing and turning on the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Your support is invaluable in helping us create informative and inspiring content. Now, let's delve into 5 concerning signs that often appear in elderly individuals nearing the end of life. Number 5. Difficulty swallowing or loss of appetite. This is a deeply concerning sign that often manifests in elderly individuals nearing the end of life. While it may seem like a natural part of aging, medical experts caution that it could signal something far more serious. When an older person starts eating less or struggles to swallow food and liquids, it indicates that their body is no longer processing nourishment effectively. This change can be gradual or sudden, but it's a sign that should never be ignored. Swallowing is something we often take for granted, a reflex that happens without much thought. However, as the body ages, the muscles responsible for swallowing can weaken. In some cases, this is due to neurological conditions like Parkinson's or dementia, which disrupt the brain's ability to control these muscles. In other instances, difficulty swallowing, also known as dysphagia, can be linked to declining organ function. As the body begins shutting down, it naturally slows down non-essential processes, and digestion is often one of the first to be affected. Consider the case of 83-year-old Helen. She had always enjoyed her morning coffee and toast. But one day, her daughter noticed that she was taking much longer to finish her meal. Helen would chew for an unusually long time, sometimes coughing slightly before swallowing. Over time, she began eating less and less, leaving most of her food untouched. Eventually, even drinking water became a challenge. By the time she sought medical attention, her body had already entered a weakened state, making it difficult to recover. Loss of appetite is another major warning sign that doctors take seriously. While it's common for people to eat less as they age, a sudden or extreme drop in food intake is different. It's often a sign that the body no longer requires as much energy as it once did, as it prepares to slow down. Consequently, elderly individuals may start skipping meals entirely, displaying disinterest in foods they once cherished or claiming they simply aren't hungry. One of the most significant risks associated with swallowing difficulties and appetite loss is malnutrition. When an elderly person doesn't consume enough food, their body loses muscle mass, their immune system weakens, and their overall strength declines. This can lead to a vicious cycle, as weakness makes eating even more challenging, while eating less further exacerbates the weakness. Over time, even a minor illness or infection can become life-threatening due to the body's lack of resources to fight back. Families and caregivers often grapple with how to handle such situations. It's natural to want to encourage a loved one to eat more, but forcing food isn't always the appropriate approach. Instead, it's crucial to focus on small, nutrient-dense meals that are easy to swallow. Soft foods, broths, and nutritional shakes can sometimes provide relief. However, if swallowing continues to be difficult, seeking medical advice is essential. In some cases, speech or swallowing therapy can improve function, while in others, doctors may recommend alternative feeding methods. Ultimately, when an elderly person begins to exhibit a significant decline in appetite or struggles with swallowing, it often serves as a clear indication that their body is undergoing a significant transition. While witnessing a loved one's decline can be heartbreaking, understanding the underlying reasons can empower families to make informed decisions about care and comfort. If a loved one starts eating less or struggles with swallowing, it's a sign to provide support and ensure their comfort. Seeking medical guidance is crucial to decipher what their body is communicating. One of the most overlooked but crucial warning signs is a sudden change in mobility, such as steady walking or frequent falls. While it's normal for balance and strength to decline with age, a noticeable increase in falls, difficulty walking, or sudden instability often indicates a more serious underlying issue. When an older adult struggles to move as they once did, it's a sign that their muscles, nerves, or circulation have deteriorated. This decline isn't just about physical frailty, it often reflects deeper systemic changes within the body. A primary reason elderly individuals become more prone to falls is the gradual weakening of muscles and bones. As we age, the body naturally loses muscle mass. However, when this process accelerates, it can lead to a condition called sarcopenia. This condition makes everyday movements like standing up from a chair, walking down a hallway, or stepping onto a curb significantly more challenging. Even individuals who were once active and independent may suddenly find themselves relying on walls, furniture, or assistance to move around. Consider the case of 79-year-old Frank. He had always been steady on his feet, never thinking twice about walking around his house or running errands. However, over a few months, he started stumbling more often. Initially, it was just a few near misses, which he brushed off as clumsiness. Then came the first real fall, nothing serious, just a bruise on his arm. But as time progressed, the falls became more frequent, and his confidence in moving around began to fade. His family later discovered that his circulation was deteriorating, and his nervous system wasn't responding as swiftly as it once had. Balance issues aren't always attributed to muscle loss. Sometimes they originate from changes in the brain. Neurological conditions, such as Parkinson's disease, mini-strokes, or even undiagnosed dementia, can impair coordination and slow reaction times. The nervous system plays a pivotal role in movement, transmitting signals from the brain to the body to maintain balance. When these signals malfunction or slow down, falls become more probable. Another contributing factor to mobility issues is poor circulation. The heart's pumping capacity weakens with age, and when blood flow to the legs decreases, it can cause numbness, weakness, and dizziness. This is why some elderly individuals feel lightheaded when they stand up abruptly or struggle with their footing after sitting for extended periods. In more advanced cases, the body prioritizes circulation to vital organs like the heart and brain, leaving the extremities, particularly the legs, without the oxygen and nutrients they require to function optimally. The danger of frequent falls goes far beyond the risk of injury. A single bad fall can lead to a broken hip, a severe head injury, or even hospitalization. Studies have shown that, after a major fall, many elderly individuals experience a rapid decline in health due to complications like infections, reduced mobility, or the psychological fear of falling again. This fear alone can lead to less movement, which accelerates physical decline. If you notice an elderly loved one becoming unsteady on their feet, don't ignore it. Encourage them to use supportive devices like a cane or a walker, but more importantly, consult a doctor to see if there's an underlying medical issue at play. Sometimes, simple solutions like adjusting medications, improving hydration, or engaging in physical therapy can restore some stability. However, in other cases, frequent falls may be a warning sign that the body is gradually losing its ability to function as it once did. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward to number 7, confusion, hallucinations, or cognitive decline. One of the most alarming yet frequently misunderstood signs that an elderly person may be in their final year of life is a sudden or gradual decline in cognitive function. This can manifest in many ways, such as forgetfulness, difficulty following conversations, sudden confusion about time or place, or even experiencing hallucinations. While many associate memory loss with normal aging, a noticeable shift in mental clarity, especially when it happens over a short period, can indicate something far more serious. The brain, a vital organ, demands a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients to function optimally. As the body weakens, the brain often becomes one of the first organs to show signs of distress. In some cases, cognitive decline can be attributed to reduced circulation, depriving the brain of the oxygen it needs. Conversely, it may be linked to underlying medical conditions such as undiagnosed infections, medication side effects, or even early-stage organ failure. When the body prioritizes its remaining energy for essential functions, cognitive processes like memory, attention, and reasoning can begin to deteriorate. Consider the case of Dorothy, an 85-year-old woman who had always been sharp-witted, remembering birthdays, sharing family stories, and keeping up with the news. However, her son noticed that she started repeating herself more frequently. Initially, it was minor occurrences, such as forgetting a conversation from earlier in the day or misplacing her keys. Over time, her condition worsened, leading to time disorientation, confusion about the time of day, and even hallucinations. One evening, she told her family that she saw her late husband standing in the hallway, prompting them to realize that something was seriously amiss. Hallucinations in elderly individuals can be particularly distressing for both the person experiencing them and their loved ones. Seeing people who aren't there, hearing voices or sensations without a physical cause, can all be signs of brain struggle. While hallucinations are often associated with dementia or neurological conditions like Parkinson's disease, they can also occur when the body is in distress. Dehydration, infections, or even a lack of sleep can trigger these episodes. However, when they become more frequent, it may indicate that the body is shutting down. Another common yet subtle sign is terminal restlessness, which occurs when an elderly person becomes unusually agitated, anxious, or disoriented. Often, elderly individuals may exhibit behaviors such as pacing, picking at their sheets, or seeming unable to settle down. These behaviors can be linked to discomfort, but they can also be a sign that the body is struggling to regulate itself in its final months. While some cognitive changes are expected with age, sudden or extreme shifts should never be ignored. If an elderly loved one suddenly starts struggling to remember familiar faces, has difficulty speaking in full sentences, or seems lost in their own home, it's essential to seek medical advice. Sometimes these symptoms are reversible, caused by infections, dehydration, or medication issues that can be addressed. However, in other cases, they signal a deeper decline that families should prepare for. It's important to remember that cognitive changes aren't just about memory loss. They're about how the body is functioning as a whole. If someone is experiencing confusion or hallucinations, it's not just a sign of aging. It's a signal that something significant is happening internally. Paying attention to these changes can help ensure that your loved one receives the care and comfort they need in their final months. As we wrap up this video, take a moment to reflect on the 7 signs we've discussed. These changes aren't always easy to recognize, and even when they are, it can be difficult to accept what they might mean. Understanding these signs empowers us to be better prepared, provide the right care, and ensure our loved ones are as comfortable as possible during their final months. Which of these signs resonated with you the most? Have you noticed any of these signs in someone you know? Recognizing them doesn't mean losing hope. It means knowing when to seek medical advice, adjust care, or prioritize quality of life over simply prolonging life. Every person's journey is unique, but the body communicates when it needs assistance. Paying attention to these signals is one of the most compassionate things we can do. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your thoughts are valuable to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments provides us with great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating informative and inspiring content. Thank you for watching, and we eagerly anticipate seeing you in the next video.